everyone. Welcome to another episode of Practical Marketing Tips for Small Law Firms, where we interview industry experts about proven, low-cost, use-today attorney marketing strategies. I'm your host, Cara Pryor, president of James Publishing, co-founder of our content-based marketing amplifier program. As you might know, I spend most of my time really strategizing with lawyers on how to improve their marketing ROI, how to improve that ever so precious return on investment, right? So like we always do, let's get right down to business. We have a great guest today. I'm really excited to welcome Darian Kovacs of Jelly Marketing. Hey, Darian.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So a little bit about Darian before we dive in. He runs Jelly Marketing, Jelly Digital Marketing and PR, where he helps small law firms and small businesses really improve their marketing results. So he hosts an Amazon Prime show called Marketing Jam, where Darian interviews marketing leaders like Seth Godin, Guy Kawasaki, CMOs from brands like Lego and Starbucks. So he's talking to some of the big guys. His latest book, Marketing Mentors, will actually be available this spring in bookstores and on Amazon. So make sure to check that out. Darian's married with 4 kids, loves mountain biking, watercolor painting, and the Great British Baking Show. I'm also a huge fan, love that. So today we will essentially unveil the top ways for small law firms to attract more clients, and in many cases for low or no cost. Sound good, Darian? Ready to go?
Sounds great.
Awesome. So let's start. What are some ways attorneys can really kind of boost their SEO ranking for free? So their search engine optimization, how can they improve that ranking on Google?
That's a great question. The biggest thing I find that most people aren't aware of is their Google My Business listing. Some people assume that it's just a map thing. It's just something that social media people need to take care of. But really, it is a very vital social media tool because you can socialize with people through that form of media. So you can respond to reviews, you can do posts now, you can do specials, you can give your COVID update, you can add video. Google My Business has really enhanced itself, especially in the last 6 months. So my big encouragement, it's a free app you can download on your phone. It's free to register your law firm, yourself as an attorney. And once you have that, you're then able to optimize that setting and all the content that goes in there. So I think, when you Google search, whether it's a lawyer by name or a type of lawyer in a specific city, Google really uses what's called that map pack or the Google My Business listings to help searchers find really helpful people because their reviews are there, the latest updates are there from that lawyer, that attorney. And also the great thing is that people can easily just call them from their phone. And because over 50% of searches are happening from people's phones, they're able to directly call using that Google My Business listing. So it's amazing. It's free. Google offers it. There's no pay to play in there. You can down the road, if you want, run ads that boost your Google My Business listing. But really, it's one of the most important things you can be doing today for free.
So, Darian, how is that different than the kind of organic listings on Google that sort of appear on that local pack?
Yeah, so if you Google something, right on the top, you're going to see ads. So those are what people pay for. They bid on those. And so it's like, hey, every time someone clicks on it, I'm going to pay, $25 or I'm going to pay $6 for that, depending on how competitive the bidding is in your city. The next thing you're going to see is probably 1 or 2 listings, so websites that appear organically. And then you're probably going to see, especially if you're on a mobile device, a bunch of maps. And you're going to see a bunch of businesses listed in what's called the Google Map Pack. And so those are what's local to you. That's what's close to you. Those are where you can see the reviews right away. And Google has actually been releasing some really great initiatives where, especially if you're in HVAC or different industries, and they're actually looking at the legal industry as well, where you can become a verified user with Google and really verify to the searchers that you are a legitimate organization, you're a legitimate attorney, and you can be trusted and people should call you.
That's great. So simply creating a Google My Business profile will magically get you into that local pack, or what are some ways to kind of make sure that you're included there?
Yeah, if you don't have a listing yet, so this is for those that have yet to have one, you go to Google My Business, you just Google My Business, and you can register your law firm with that or yourself as an attorney. They will actually mail you a postcard to verify that you are at that location. You put in the code to verify your location, and then you're then able to download the app and start enhancing your profile. For those that already have a listing, make sure that you've claimed it. So some people actually haven't claimed their listing yet because it exists and they haven't actually been responding to reviews, they haven't been engaging, and they haven't been optimizing the listing. So you can log in and start posting updates, photos, videos, content that shows Google and alerts Google that you are alive, that you are living, you are, an engaged attorney who wants to get more clients.
Excellent. Good. And how do reviews and sort of listings play into that whole, I
Yeah.
think kind of sometimes buzzwords that attorneys hear. So, I need reviews, I need, directory listings. What does that mean? And how can attorneys kind of, help themselves in that area?
Totally. When Google was kind of earlier days, and even probably as 5 years ago, the biggest thing to kind of woo Google was to have a really well coded site. So really good content on there. It was, your H1 headers, kind of all like the technical aspects of your site had to be really good. But what Google found was that there's all these people who could game the system. So if you had a really good web developer and you were a really good coder, you could game the system to tell Google that you were really relevant and you are a great authority. And so Google, their latest algorithm updates, have it now where they don't just look at what your coding is on your site, but they look for off-site relevancy as well and authority. So a great analogy could be if you've seen the movie Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan. It's this great movie about these really mean, judgmental girls in high school. And maybe you went to high school and you actually knew those girls or people that were like that. Maybe at your firm you have people who are like that now. I don't know. But Google's like a really mean, judgmental girl in a hallway. So as your law firm website, as your brand goes down the hallway, Google's doing two things. Google's looking your website, your name up and down, and seeing how your website is coded, what content is on there. And that's where Google used to be really, important for them, was just how it was coded and, the headers, all the technical aspects. But the second thing is that Google does to judge people, and this is about 50%, some would say, is that Google looks to see who's talking to you in the hallway. So if no one is talking to you in the hallway, you're probably not an authority on any topic. But if you've got 4 or 5 people talking to the hallway about intellectual property law in Boston, intellectual property law in Los Angeles, you're probably an authority on that topic and in that city. And so in the same way, Google is looking to find out what kind of social cues are out there and who's linking back to you, Google's also actually reviewing your reviews. And so as people leave you reviews, or as you encourage people to leave you reviews, make sure that they put in the city name that you're known for and the cities that you want to be known for and the type of law that you help them with. Because Google also wants to get user-generated content that verifies that you are truly an authority on that topic and you are truly an authority in that geographic area.
Yeah, definitely. I love that Mean Girls analogy. That's perfect. And it's interesting too. I mean, reviews, they're just becoming more and more and more critical. I mean, it's such a must-have. Everyone reviews, looks at reviews before they buy anything. And that's, when they're hiring an attorney, that's no exception, right? So I always try to encourage attorneys to ask for reviews, get a system in place, automate it as much as you can, send some automated emails, send some text messages, however, it's easiest for you, but you have to ask for those reviews and don't be scared of those negative reviews. I also hear attorneys that are just so handcuffed, they don't ask for any reviews because they're nervous about those negative ones. I mean, there's a few things you can do. You can certainly ask a preliminary question to see, whether or not those past clients, would give you a thumbs up or thumbs down. Those thumbs down folks, you don't even have to ask for a review. Maybe you can send them to a private feedback page, just to kind of learn what the problem is. But anyone who, reports that they would recommend you, go ahead, send them their Google, your Google link and ask for a review, and don't be shy about nudging them and reminding them. Those reviews are so, so important. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about video. I feel like video is really kind of the easiest way for attorneys to kind of distinguish themselves, really build that trust, especially in this like pandemic digital age that we're in. Tell me a little bit about how attorneys can just get more video content.
Yeah, and if you think about it, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. The other big point there is that Google owns YouTube. And so in the same way, if you go to someone's house and they have a kid and you're really good to that kid, you know, you feed them good food and you bring them really nice kind of educational toys, the parents look fondly upon you. So if you feed YouTube with great content and put great educational content on YouTube, Google looks fondly upon your name and your brand. So again, using that analogy, if you can continue to put out content that's resourceful, informative, and also humanizing. I think when people have the opportunity to get to know you before they maybe hire you or meet you in person, they can do some research about you. Being able to be proactive and putting content out there like that, there's nothing better. You know, the whole picture tells 1,000 words, you know, a video tells 1,000,000. And so one of the ways that we're seeing it, people with their iPhones or their Android devices, the video quality is incredible these days. The only thing that you got to watch for is the sound. And so we encourage everyone to get these lapel mics that you can buy. They're $30, $40, $50 from Amazon, depending on the quality you want to get. And they clip right into your phone. And so then you can clip it right in, put it on your shirt. And that's the big thing to keep in mind. The other one for lighting, you can buy a light ring from Amazon, you know, same thing, $50 to $100, or you can be facing a window, and a nice natural light window will give you that natural light. So we encourage everyone to answer the frequently asked questions. So think of the 5 things get asked in a meeting and answer those on video. You're then able to, right even from your phone, Android devices or iOS, upload those videos directly to YouTube from your phone really simply. And again, it's not just about having these beautiful, polished, gorgeous videos, but it's more about creating content that's natural, that's you answering questions. And again, really building that natural connection before they consider who they're going to hire.
Absolutely. I agree. You know, again, I talk to so many attorneys who just, they haven't started with video because they think they need this perfect, you know, high production value video. I mean, especially in this Zoom age, right? I mean, we've grown accustomed to seeing, you know, some of our nation's top officials and news reporters coming to us live from their living room, you know, so your smartphone, like you said, you know, your laptop camera, your webcam. I mean, it doesn't, you don't need to have all of this fancy equipment to, you know, create something that is super helpful. And the FAQ, frequently asked question videos, that is the best way to go, in my opinion. You know, attorneys know, yeah.
And as I say, and one thing, if you're nervous and you kind of don't know where to go, have a conversation with someone. I like that we're like, even model what you've modeled here with these videos and these interviews, is have someone ask you questions. And then you just can splice these Zoom recordings together. And Zoom is free up to 45 minutes. So splice these videos together. Instead of using your phone, have a friend, family member, you know, someone who works at the firm ask you those questions. And it's even easier because then you have to feel less scripted, less prepared, and make it more of a natural conversation.
Absolutely. And, you know, attorneys know better than anyone the common questions they get from prospects and new clients, right? I mean, it's just a matter of taking 10, 15 minutes, jotting down those questions that they hear every day, and then ticking them off, you know, creating a video. Again, a Zoom is a great way to do it, super low cost. And then you have a bunch of video content, which that kind of leads to our next point. So creating the video, that's kind of half the battle. Then what do you do once you have these videos? How do you promote them? How do you kind of get them to work for you?
Yeah. So number one would be you kind of have the Zoom recording. You can either splice it up into multiple videos, or you can have just one video per interview. You're then able to take that video file and you can upload it directly to YouTube, tag it correctly, link back to your website. Make sure you put the full URL, including the HTTPS on the front so that it is a hyperlink. The other thing you can do using a tool like Otter, Otter, it is a tool that transcribes your videos for you. So you then can actually get blog posts out of the videos as well. So some pushback we get is I don't have time to make videos. So if you schedule in a half-hour interview, you can think of it as not only are you making video content for YouTube, which is great for SEO, but you're then also getting some great blog content because you can take the transcription and it can become a blog. And the third thing you can do is a tool called Anchor.fm. Allows you to take the audio from that interview and put it on Anchor, and you can create a podcast. So right away, a half hour out of your day can be used for 3 purposes right away. And the fourth purpose, which I think is really, really valuable, especially today, would be LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is allowing you to upload videos right to the platform. So instead of linking to YouTube, because LinkedIn doesn't love that, because LinkedIn wants you to stay on LinkedIn. And so when you post videos right to their platform, the algorithm within LinkedIn, instead of say 5% of your connections seeing that link out to YouTube, you're going to see almost 25% of your connections seeing that video right within LinkedIn, because LinkedIn really loves it when people like you post videos.
Excellent tips. Those are great. Yeah, those are, use it today. I love it. The transcription, that's, there's nothing to it, right? So I love that you can kind of repurpose that content with no additional, time output. So that's great. Another sort of video type that I wanted to mention too, that we've seen work really well, is attorneys kind of describing past cases or past clients and those kind of specific fact patterns that might go along with their past cases. Keeping that's a really nice way to kind of keep fresh video content. You're always wrapping cases, shoot a 2 to 3 minute video kind of outlining the facts of the case, the challenges, how you overcame, and then you're able to kind of grow this library, and your prospective clients, who visit your site and see these videos, they can say, oh, this attorney has handled exactly what my problem is. I want to hire this attorney. So those past case videos are really great too.
And all of this so far doesn't cost any money. It's simply your time. And so whether it's evenings, weekends, whatever that looks like, scheduling even a half hour every week to invest in this is a really valuable thing. And if you ever hit writer's block and you think, oh man, I can't think of what to write about, I can't think of what the trends are, maybe you've done every frequently asked question, there's a really great resource called answerthepublic.com, which is a website that gives you the typical questions that people Google search when it comes to a topic or a trend. So you go right in there, put what sort of law that you do, and it will give you a bunch of topics and questions and thoughts that you can then do videos about. So again, if you think about it from an SEO perspective, search engine optimization, you kind of reverse engineer your videos and your blog posts because you're then answering the questions that people Google search. So over time, those blogs that you post, those videos that you post, answering those questions will show up in people's searches because Google will see that you've answered that specific question for those people.
Super smart. I love that. Let's move on. So Darian, what's earned media? That's something that I think maybe attorneys have heard and they're not really quite sure maybe what it is, but then how it can possibly be helpful for law firm marketing.
Yeah, so you look at paid media, which would be, a sponsored post, an advertisement in a newspaper, an ad on the radio. Earned media is when you tell the radio host or the newspaper editor or, Forbes magazine that you've got something really valuable to share that their readers want to know about, but you're not going to pay for it. And so you earn your way in. So a good example would be your local newspaper, where maybe you saw something happen in the news and you want to give the legal perspective on what happened. Another one could be is, might have a national publication that you want to be seen in. So again, it's going to them and positioning yourself as a thought leader, and they might come to you for a quote to start. They might come to you for an interview. They might even come to you to write a listicle. And a listicle is a really neat and doing quite well type of writing where it's a list in the form of an article or an article in the form of a list. So it could be, top 5 things to consider before hiring a lawyer. Top 3 things to be considering for your business in 2021 from a legal perspective. So those are 2 listicles right there that people love to click on. So some people call it clickbait. Publications love to call it lots of readership to their publication, which again turns into more people seeing their other articles and in turn also seeing the ads that are running on said publication. So if you can begin to think about writing in the form of lists, publications love that. Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes, Fast Company. The other type of writing that you can be doing for earned media is called Op-Eds. So those are opinion editorials. So you have an opinion about something and you're really opinionated. Maybe you get video interviewed about that opinion, and ideally it has a couple stats in it, a couple facts in there, and you're then able to write a concise summary of what your opinion is about something and then submit it to the editor and offering it to the editor as exclusive to them, meaning you're not shopping it around yet, but just say, hey, I'd love to offer this op-ed exclusively to you. Please let me know in the next 48 hours if you'd like it. Otherwise, I'll probably go somewhere else, but I want to offer it to you first before anyone else. So those are just some great ways to get earned media for your name and your firm.
Yeah, that's great. And site that we've used in the past is helpareporter.com.
Yeah. Haro. It's great.
Yeah, so they basically, connect journalists looking for experts,
Yeah.
specifically they could be looking for an attorney voice, like you say,
Yeah.
to kind of include in their articles. So that could be a nice resource if you're particularly interested in getting into this space.
And the win here too is keeping in mind is, well, I just want to write about my firm and I want to get lots of links about my firm in the publication. That's not going to work because then they'll see it as salesy. But think about, you're going to write something really helpful, some great stats, a great listicle. But then in the byline, which is the micro bio for your written piece, your op-ed, your listicle, you can then put a link to your law firm. And especially if it's a highly read publication where people spend a lot of time, they have what's called domain authority. So again, think of them as the coolest kids in the high school. So again, if you're walking down that hallway and the coolest kid in the high school says hi to you and talks to you about a topic, Google is going to rank you really high. So again, getting a link back from a very well-trusted publication is a really great win to get for your brand.
Excellent, definitely. Okay, Darian, so kind of wrapping up a little bit, let's talk about how attorneys can sort of easily measure their marketing results. So even if they're working with an agency, ROI is always kind of the most important return on investment. So what's an easy way without getting, kind of too technical that that attorneys can really kind of measure and track those results?
Totally. So within people's websites, make sure that you have what's set up is called Google Analytics. So again, it's a free tool that tells you all the traffic that comes to your site, where the traffic comes from, how much time they spend on your site, what cities they're from, what pages they go to. It even tells you what pages that they leave and what pages they came in on and who referred them to your site. It could have been an organic Google search. It could have been a paid ad maybe that you're running. It could have been your map pack. And from there, the other most crucial thing that we find most law firms haven't set up yet is called goals. So it's a free tool right within Google Analytics that allows you to track the goals that you want people to complete on your website. So for example, it could be sign up for our newsletter, a contact form, make a phone call. Those are three things that we're finding most law firms track that are most important. And once you have those Google goals set up, you can either get Google Analytics to automatically send you a report every week and tell you where the goals and what goals are converting and where traffic is coming from that converts in those goals. So we as a firm, for example, we found that we were getting a ton of conversions through LinkedIn. And so we realized for the next year, as we budgeted and as we planned, we're going to spend a lot more time investing in LinkedIn. We also found that there were these two websites, one was called Clutch and one was UpCity, that was sending a lot of great qualified leads to our site. So again, we put an ad out somewhere else in another publication, and the traffic that came to our site was a lot, but it didn't convert. So they didn't send us very good qualified leads. But what through Clutch and UpCity we saw was they sent us really good qualified leads. And so the next year when we budgeted, we planned that we would take whatever budget we were spending elsewhere and we invested in UpCity and Clutch because they already proven to us and to ourselves that they are the type of publication, the type of website that sends us qualified leads that convert. So they either fill out a form to contact us, inquiring about services, they make a phone call. One of our actually kind of qualifications, they spend more than 5 minutes on our site. And so because of all that, we're finding that small firms, micro firms, you don't have a ton of marketing budget. Maybe you don't have any. And so having Google Analytics set up for free, having those goals, monitoring where those qualified leads come from is so crucial because then you can monitor and measure where every single dollar goes of your marketing efforts.
Absolutely. I mean, you really can't track progress without measurement, right? So there has to be some kind of benchmark in place so you know what's working and what's not. Yeah, that's great.
Totally.
Okay, so lots of good stuff today, Darian. I really appreciate the time. Let everyone know how they can contact you or learn more.
Sure. We are at Jelly Marketing, so up here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And we've got a white paper as well if you're interested to dive deeper into doing SEO yourself. So we wrote a whole white paper on SEO for law firms. That's totally free. It's not even gated, so you don't even have to give us your email address. Just download it. We'll provide a link for that. And the other big one I'd encourage, just again, another great resource that's out there. The only one that's actually costs money would be CallRail that we encourage. So lawyers that are still wanting to do print publications or billboards, et cetera, newspaper ads, CallRail allows you to put a specific phone number in there that's trackable and monitorable. So again, looking at ways to track results, CallRail is probably the best service we've seen for tracking those results, tracking those leads, and again, helping inform you so you could better make budgetary decisions for that next quarter or that next year.
Yeah, absolutely. How many leads came from this TV ad? How many leads came from another marketing source? Yeah, so that's great. Okay, excellent, Darian. Thank you so much. Everyone join us for our next episode of Practical Tips for Small Law Firms very soon. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Darian. Have a good one. Bye.